Hey y'all, it's kinda, I was gonna do crime scenes and tell y'all about crime scenes. And yeah, so I'm just gonna, this is about the Zodiac killer, the famous killer that no one really uncovered anything about. I mean, they did uncover a lot of stuff, but they didn't, like, just, they didn't find out who it was, basically. I mean, I think I know who it was, but I think we all know, but I'm just gonna tell y'all the story. Okay. Northern California, late 1960s. A shadow fell over the Bay Arena. But this wasn't your typical night. A serial killer hiding in the dark. This killer wanted a stage. He wanted a spotlight. And more than anything, he wanted to play a game. He targeted young couples and isolated lovers. Lane struck with brutal precision and then did something that terrified the entire nation. He called the police to report his own crime. How crazy is that, y'all? How are you gonna call the police and report your own crime? He's playing a game with them, which is, in my opinion, is crazy. He wrote taunting letters to the local newspapers demanding be printed on the front page or he would kill again. I would have done what he said personally, because I wouldn't, want him to kill more people. Alright, let's keep going. Demanding they be printed on the front page or he would kill again. He wrapped his identity in riddles, complex, kippers, and haunting name he gave himself, the Zodiac. For over 50 years, amateurs, world-class code breakers, and FBI have tried to unmask him today. We're diving deep into the terrifying timeline, the unsolved ciphers, and the prime suspects of America's most exclusive ghosts. If you're ready to peer into the dark, hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and let's get into it. Our story begins just a few days before Christmas. Just a few days before Christmas. In 1968, 17-year-old David Faraday, don't know how to say it. These are my notes, so David Faraday. We're going to call him that. And 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen were on their very first date. That is sad to think, y'all. Think about it. They're on their first date, all happy, and then just brutalness happened. Probably not the right words for that. They parked at a well-known Lover's Lane. Okay, like Herman Road. It was supposed to be quiet, romantic night. Instead, became a nightmare. So, that's the Zodiac killer for y'all guys. Don't mind the background. Let's go down. Another car pulled up. A man stepped out with a .22 caliber pistol. Within minutes, both teens were shot and killed. There was no apartment motive, no robbery, no assault, just senseless violence. I don't know why we're doing that. 7 months later, on Independence Day, 1969, the killer struck again. Darylyn Farron, age 22, and Michael Mogo, something like that, age 19, were parked just 4 miles away from the first crime scene. A car pulled up behind them, blinding them with high beams. A man walked up to the passenger side and opened fire without saying a word. Darylyn tragedy lost her life, but Michael survived. Despite being shot multiple times, he gave the police a very first description of the attacker. A stocky white man, short, around 5'8", with light brown hair. But the real terror started exactly 40 minutes after the shooting. A payphone rang at the Vallejo Police Department. A calm, chilling voice spoke to the dispatcher. He said, "I want to report a double murder. If you will." Okay, everybody, I'm sorry. My phone keeps doing weird stuff. I don't know where we are. Hold on. Okay. Alright. We're gonna start where the phone call happened and everything. "I want to report a double murder. If you will go 1 mile east of Columbus Parkway to a public park, you will find the kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye." So basically, very frightening. The cops are trying to figure out everything going on at that predicament. They're probably really worried. I would be. I don't know. That was just really bad. The killer wasn't just running from the law. He was inviting them to the chase. By August 1969, 3 major newspapers received identical handwritten letters. They began with the phrase that would haunt history. "Dear editor," this is Zodiac speaking. Each letter contained 1/3 of 408-character cipher. The Zodiac claimed that if the papers decoded it, I don't know how to say that, they would find his true identity. He demanded they print the cipher on the front page, or he would cruise around all weekend, killing lone people in the night. The papers complied. A week later, a school teacher and his wife actually cracked the code. It didn't reveal his name, but it revealed a deeply disturbed mind. The decoded message read, "I like killing people because it's so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest, because man is the most dangerous animal of all." So, I mean, that is pretty mean. That is pretty bad. Not pretty bad, that is bad, y'all. That's like horrible. Alright. Then came September 27th, 1969. A Lake Berryessa, I don't know, whenever I was writing these notes, y'all, it was like I was writing them, but I was reading stuff at the same time, trying to put that in there. But a lot of these I really don't understand. Brian Hartnell and Celia Shepard were relaxing by the water when a man emerged from the trees. This time he wasn't hiding in the dark. He was wearing an elaborated, hand-stitched black Exoner's hood, or y'all know what I'm talking about, with the Zodiac crosshairs symbol painted in white on the chest. He carried a gun and a clothesline. He tied them up, claiming he was an escaped convict who just wanted their money. But then he drew a 12-inch bayonet. Don't ask me what that is. He brutally stabbed them both multiple times before walking over to Brian's car. Using a black marker, he wrote the dates of his previous attacks on the car door, signed it with his symbols, and simply walked away. Unbelievably, Brian survived the recount this bizarre. Tragically Selena tragically did not survive. Up until the Zodiac had hunted in secluded areas, But in October 1969, he brought his terror straight into the heart of San Francisco. He hopped into a yellow cab driven by 29-year-old Paul Stein at the intersection of Washington and Cherry Streets. The Zodiac shot Stein in the head, took his wallet, and tore off a bloody piece of the driver's shirt. 3 teenagers witnessed the crime from across the street and called the police, but due to a catastrophic dispatch error, the police were told the suspect was a black male rather than a white male. Because of this, 2 officers passing just blocks away actually stopped and spoke to the white man walking away from the scene. A man watching, the Zodiac's true description. Not realizing he was the killer, they let him go. The Zodiac had slipped through their fingers by a matter of seconds. Days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received another letter inside of a blood-soaked piece of Paul Stein's shirt. The Zodiac mocked the police, writing, "San Francisco police could have caught me last night if they had searched the park properly. Instead of holding races with their motorcycles. The Zodiac claimed to have killed 37 people. That's a lot of people. The police have only officially confirmed 5 murders and 2 survivors. By the early 1970s, the letters stopped. The Zodiac vanished. Who was he? Over 2,500 suspects have been investigated over the decades. Let's look at the 2 most famous ones. First, there's Arthur Lee Allen. He is the only suspect police ever searched with search warrants. Allen was a former school teacher who had been fired for inappropriate behavior. Oddly enough, he wore a wristwatch branded with the name Zodiac, which featured the exact crosshair symbol that the killer used. He owned the same caliber guns used in the killings. His own friend reported that Allen had talked about killing couples and calling himself Zodiac before the murders even began. However, his fingerprints didn't match those found on the letters, and his handwriting didn't match the Zodiac's. He died in 1992, never being charged. Now, personally, y'all, I think it was him. I know that they said the fingerprints and all that was not the same, and his handwriting wasn't the same. But if he had everything exactly and talked about killing people, like, come on, guys. Why are we worried about fingerprints at this point? I mean, I get it was an older decade, but still, you shouldn't just let him slip through your fingers like that. Then there's Gary Francis Post. I think that's how you say it. In the recent years, an independent group of investigators claimed a Post who died in 2018 was the actual killer. They pointed to scars on Post's forehead that matched the police sketches and claimed to find his name hidden in an anagram within one of his ciphers. I don't know how you say ciphers. However, the FBI and the local police maintain that the case remains open and unsolved, dismissing these claims as purely circumstantial. I don't know. These articles say just weird stuff. In 2020, a team of amateur codebreakers finally cracked the Zodiac's famous 340 cipher after 51 years of silence. It read, I hope you are having lots of fun and trying to catch me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. Even from the grave or whenever he may be hiding, the zodiac continues to taunt us. Was he a military code breaker? A disgruntled loner? Did he die decades ago? Or is he an old man today, watching videos about himself on the internet? The terrifying truth is, we may never know. The identity of the zodiac remains locked away. In history, a ghost is in ghost plain sight. What do you think? Arthur Lean Allen, the guy, or is the real killer? Some we've never even heard of. Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you like this deep dive, give it a thumbs up. Share it with a fellow true crime junkie. And I'll see you in the next case. Stay safe out there, y'all. Bye.